If there is one genre combination that almost always works, then it's comedy and horror. It doesn't even matter if it's ironic or not. The absolute ridiculousness most definitely turns out to be a lively watch, especially if you have your homies around. Of course, the anime medium is also dripping with such series, but it adds in some sweet seasoning of slice of life along with high school girls as a cherry on top. This results in this anime called Miruko-chan. It's stark combination of flavors that surprisingly works. Basically, there is a black-haired girl named Miko. She always tries to smile, but if you look closely, you can make out a solemn and tired expression on her face. She is a high school girl with a healthy life, but even so, she seems so overwhelmed, be it mentally or should I say, psychologically. The root cause of it all is a unique ability she recently acquired. She has spirit sight and therefore she can see ghosts. Not the pretty ones, what we're talking about are the downright heinous looking ones. Seeing them is the norm for her, and I guess you can say she has gotten used to ignoring them. Her friend Hannah is a larger-than-life lively girl. Her smile is contagious so much that she can unknowingly destroy weaker spirits just by her presence. Well, it's not like she can see them anyway. So when did she start seeing these ghosts? Well, one day she gets ready like usual and goes to school. She is immediately greeted by Hannah, who just straight up sneaks behind and hugs her. From there on out, it begins and ends like a regular school day. Later in the evening, when she bids Hannah farewell, she realizes she lost her doll and decides to go back to the school building. It's a good thing that it was still there, but as she picks it up, she can feel the presence of something running in the hallway. Later, as she waits at the bus stop, a shameless ghost of an old lady pops up and questions her if she can see her. Miko plays it cool and acts like she can't see her, but her facial expression says otherwise. Thankfully, the ghost bails and Miko goes straight back home. It seems no one else is at home, and so we are in for a night. She's in the washroom preparing to go to sleep when another ghost appears. This time, it's the ghost of an old man. He goes on to say how the handprint she noticed on the mirror in the morning is his, and he also asks if she can see him. But once again, Miko ignores the ghost, and so it disappears, at least for the time being. She places some salt in her room and goes to bed, tries to sleep, but I guess it isn't that easy, is it? Just when a face pops on her stomach and calls her Mama, it's the same ghost from the washroom. Not very pleasant, is it? Keep in mind, this was the first day she saw these ghosts. For a teenage girl, it's already incredible that she didn't scream and tried her best to ignore them. She somehow manages to go to sleep and wakes up the next day, goes to school and is greeted by Hannah from behind as usual. But this time Hannah's chest catches her off guard. She asks her not to jump on her like that. During this interaction, she sees another ghost, and by this point, she has already realized that these are not hallucinations. She's actually seeing these ghosts. When they are changing clothes in the locker room, she opens Hannah's locker to see if there's something inside, and while it doesn't seem to be the case, a ghost suddenly appears there as well. And then, once they are in class, she has to try extra hard to keep her cool as she sees Hannah's entire body getting wrapped by some ghost. The ghost is literally groping her best friend, and all she can do is observe and remain calm. Conveniently, when the ghost sees the school nurse, he jumps onto her instead because he wants to grope her instead. What a perverted ghost. Once the school day ends, Miko and Hannah head out to get themselves some pastries, but this is where she sees something very unusual. A number of ghosts are all lined up in a queue just waiting to be eaten by a much bigger ghost. Now, so far, it's just Miko seeing all these ghosts and there is nothing she can do about it. But when they are done buying pastries, they come across an abandoned kitten. Ah yes, she's being haunted by a ghost as well. Hannah is concerned in her own way. She asks on social media to see if there is anyone around who'd like to adopt a cute kitten. Luckily, 2 men show up. One is a handsome-looking young guy, while another man is standing in a distance is a scary and intimidating man with scars. Ordinarily, you'd give it to the handsome man because he's standing up front, but Miko could see exactly who's the better option. While the handsome boy might look nice, there are evil cat spirits all around him. Everything would go wrong if a kitty who's already being haunted goes with someone like that. The intimidating man, on the other hand, also has wholesome spirits around him, but these seem angelic. Going by this, the kitty is given to this man. He takes her home, and it is there that the secret behind his scars is revealed. It seems he got them from cat scratches. Looks like he loves taking care of cats. And maybe that's why the spirit of his wife as well as the spirits of his previous cats are always watching over him. Next up, Miko and Hana are supposed to meet up at a cafe. She gets there first and is seemingly using her phone, but she can't help but notice the spirit of an obnoxiously jealous woman hovering around a neat guy. The spirit somehow comes to the conclusion that Miko is flirting with her man, and so Miko has to run up some wrestling on her phone to inadvertently explain that she is already too occupied watching wrestling. Well, it's not like Miko was flirting with him to begin with. Ironically, when Hana arrives, another woman also enters the cafe. She seems to be the one that guy was waiting for, but just like how he has jealous spirits clinging to him, the woman also has plenty of jealous spirits clinging to her. There was only one conclusion. Miko deduces that the two of them are playboy and playgirl. They are unfaithful lovers. Following this nice casual time with Hana at the cafe, Miko gets herself some prayer beads to see if they can prevent the spirits from getting too close to her. And while it may have worked on the weaker spirits, a stronger one shows up and her prayer beads are instantly destroyed. Even Hana notices this, and out of concern she takes her friend to a nearby fortune teller that goes by the name Godmother. As you may expect, the fortune teller wants to scam her, but after seeing the prayer bead break again, she realizes that Miko is indeed haunted. Now Godmother shifts her focus from making money to actually helping these two. She also notices that Miko's friend Hana has a strong aura going for her that may protect her from weaker spirits. But the stronger ones also feel compelled to come after her because of their curiosity. The Godmother gives Miko her strongest prayer beads, but even that isn't enough. It all seems pointless, and so Miko gives up. The Godmother, on the other hand, packs her stuff and goes back to live with her son in the countryside. Well, that escalated quickly. Guess Miko will have to live with this curse. They are everywhere. In bookstores, around vending machines, she can't even have a nice shopping trip with Hana without seeing ghosts. Now, Miko has a young brother named Kyosuke. He loves his sister, and her recent strange behavior definitely doesn't escape his point of reference. He comes to the conclusion that she might be in a relationship with an abusive guy, and so he's ready to fix the situation. He starts by following her around whenever she is outside, but of course, unlike her, he can't see the ghosts. Well, this is where things get somewhat weird. She is taking a bath when another ghost shows up, but this time Kyosuke opens the door to see if everything is alright, and she ends up inviting him inside. He observes her body to see if there are any sketchy bruises or hickeys, considering how he's under the suspicion that she has an abusive boyfriend. But the boy lets out a deep sigh of relief when she tells him that she doesn't have a boyfriend. The following day, when Miko and Kyosuke are having breakfast with their mother, a ghost pops up, a big one. Miko suddenly gets up and goes to place the chestnut pudding on her father's funeral altar. Thanks to this, her father's actual spirit appears behind her. He apologizes for eating her pudding last year. Looks like he never got the chance to apologize because of that accident. Still, Miko is genuinely glad that her father could have this closure. As far as her abilities go, she has now become even able to see ghosts in the live television broadcast. Next up, we have another cutie entering the main cast. Her name is Yuria. She is small and cute with a unique blonde hair and the dream to become a powerful spirit medium. In fact, she wanted to become the apprentice of the Godmother, but because she just closed her shop and went to the mountains, Yuria lost her shot at that. Still, believe it or not, she can also see ghosts. She has been able to do so for a much longer time than Miko. That's why she wants to be somewhat of an exorcist or spirit medium, whatever you want to call it. Once Yuria learns that Miko was the Godmother's last customer, and she also notices Miko actively trying to avoid a random ghost, she suddenly has all the evidence she needs. Later at school, she confronts her and asks about it, but Miko just denies any and all allegations. Another thing to note here is how there are tiers when it comes to ghosts. Yuria can definitely see them, but she can't see the more powerful ones. However, Miko can. And so, when one such ghost tries to get too close to Yuria, Miko knocks her out as a last resort to protect her. She is then recovering in the nurse's office, and yes, Miko does show up and apologize for her outburst, but all Yuria could hear was a threat. She thinks Miko is trying to threaten her. Anyway, here's something wholesome. When Miko is on her way back home, she encounters an old woman with a not-so-good memory. She helps the lady get back to her house only to see that a ghost has been haunting the woman. But is that really the case? That ghost was chanting the numbers 4631. Miko wonders if there is something special about them, and so she tells the lady. Sure enough, the lady uses those numbers to open a certain safe and finds 10 million yen. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's just a hair comb, albeit one that was given to her by her husband. Somehow this hair comb triggers the return of her memories, and yes, as you may have realized, that was her husband's ghost. He expresses his gratitude to Miko and then willingly gets eaten by a bigger ghost. Then, once again, our girls visit a pastry shop. On their way back though, Miko finds an unusually large and scary ghost. What's frightening is how this ghost starts haunting Hana. He uses Hana's special aura to literally barbecue smaller ghosts and feed upon them. Hana is going to meet up with Miko again, but on the way she helps out a dog that had run into an abandoned building. The dog's owner is a young boy. He's very anxious, so she helps him out. But this short trip to the building somehow results in her ghost mutating several times. The next time she meets up with Miko, not only is she with that same large and scary ghost Miko saw back then, it also has become even more devastating. Miko doesn't know what to do about this. She takes her to the shrine to pray, and fortunately a couple of maiden spirits pop up along with another humongous spirit and use their power to completely destroy that ghost. The bigger spirit states the words 3 times to Miko before disappearing again. She has no idea what that means. 3 times what? Back to that small and cute blonde girl Yuria, she is still under the impression that Miko has been humiliating and mocking her all the time. She wants revenge. Then there is Hana. She took a photo while she was at the shrine with Miko. Surprisingly, the photo went viral on social media and now Hana has developed some passion for photography. Yuria listens in on this conversation and suggests a place in the mountains which is perfect for a photo shoot. The 3 of them go, but Yuria, being herself, wants everyone to travel through a haunted tunnel. Under the guise of this trip, she wants Miko to reveal her ability to see ghosts. However, in that tunnel, Yuria can only see smaller ghosts. She has no idea about the massive one who has been shamelessly eating all these low-level ghosts. Still, it is a fact that the ghosts were getting eliminated, so she wonders if it's Miko who has been using some strange power to exorcise them. Either way, this further intrigues her interest in Miko. Now she wants Miko's attention, but her boldness ends up with the big ghost now setting their sights on them. Fortunately, the Shrine Maidens show up once again and help them out. When they are on their way back, Hana takes a selfie with all 3 of them and sends it both to Miko and Yuria. Yuria is now also a dear friend. This meant a lot for dear Yuria since she hasn't really ever had any genuine friends. Later, she witnesses a small ghost getting burnt the moment it comes into contact with Hana and realizes why the ghosts in the tunnel were acting so strangely. She is about to reveal this to Hana, but Miko stops her. Well, ignorance is bliss after all. But this only ends up making Yuria become even more wary of Miko. Anyways, next up is Miko's mother's birthday. She goes out with Kyosuke to buy a present for their mother, and while the ghosts are definitely there, they end up choosing a pair of matching mugs as the gift. But when they are on the train back home, a terrifying scene plays out. A ghost with an axe is swirling it around. It's mostly harmless since it passes through people. But as hard as she tries to play it cool, she ends up wetting herself and has to get off the train. I guess if I was in that situation, I would have done the same. Then there is the scene where Miko and Hana help out their teacher with the stuff. She's pregnant after all. But Miko notices a ghost around her womb. As it turns out, she had gotten pregnant with the child before, but it died. Looks like the spirit of that dead child is now trying to protect its future sibling. This does make Miko wonder about everything though. Why she sees these ghosts? What she should be doing? Does she need to help them or what? It's all so confusing, but then she sees a horrible looking ghost and immediately realizes that, yeah, I'd better keep my distance. Now remember the handsome guy who had evil cat spirits all around him? It seems he's the substitute teacher in place of the one who got pregnant. His name is Zen. Miko gets understandably scared. By the way, that scarred man from before is still taking care of that kitty. He also celebrates his wedding anniversary even though his wife had already passed away. Anyways, so Zen is their new teacher. He still has those ghosts around him, which is why Miko tries to keep a safe distance. In one similar situation, she takes refuge in the bathroom but then also finds Yuria eating there. Miko doesn't like this because there is already a big ghost in the bathroom, one that Yuria can't see. She tells Yuria to not eat there, and then Hana invites her to always eat lunch with them instead. Guys, I think everybody could use a Hana in their lives. Alright, so as Miko keeps watch over Zen, a woman ghost shows up and tells her to not look at Zen for whatever reason. Next up, when the girls are having lunch, they plan a visit to a haunted house which is giving away a free box of donuts to whoever wins. Miko wasn't really excited at the idea at first, but when she realizes how she can just openly get scared while they are in the haunted house, she is ready to have fun. Sure enough, during the visit, she lets out her fear and exits the haunted house pretty satisfied. The girls win their box of donuts. Yeah! While they're on their way back, they wonder what the godmother has been up to, and here we get a brief scene where the godmother is shown farming. Welp, now we're finally down to the final section of this anime. The new teacher Zen is in his apartment when he is visited by his neighbor. His neighbor informs him about how someone has been murdering cats, and you should have seen the horrified look on her face when she notices blood on Zen's hand. The next time Zen is at school, Miko is surprised to see a female ghost haunting Zen, and not just the usual cats. Miko didn't want to be in that classroom any moment longer. Fortunately, Hana starts fainting, and so she takes her to the nurse's office. Yuria also shows up and states how Zen's presence is having a negative effect on Hana's energy. Later, she is in the park with Hana when a ghost bearing animosity and posing as a child attempts to attack, but the shrine maidens pop up out of nowhere and destroy it. Miko comes to the realization that the 3 times the big spirit was talking about is a reference to how she'll only be saved thrice, and it looks like she has already used 2 of her chances. Once at the tunnel and now at this park. The next day at school, while there is a lesson going on, Zen's flashback is revealed. Looks like his mother was extraordinarily toxic, who always abused and humiliated him. After the school day, Miko tries following Zen around because the ghosts around him are getting too much to handle. She knows he's sketchy, and so she wants to find a reason to get him kicked out of the school. Sure enough, she notices Zen about to grab a kitten. This sets off all the wrong alarms in the back of Miko's head. She rushes to protect the kitten because she knows Zen will harm him, but the kitten escapes and then jumps on the road. A car was almost about to run it over when Zen jumps and saves it. He couldn't save himself from the clash though. Then there's another flashback which reveals how when Zen adopted a kitten, his mother just killed it and gave Zen permanent PTSD. Zen is taken to the hospital following this clash with the car. Miko visits him, and there he reveals how he has been trying to look for a criminal who's behind the disappearance of the local stray cats. Later, Zen's friend Satoru meets with Miko and explains his past to her. This helps Miko realize how the ghost haunting him is the ghost of his mother. Miko conveniently mocks and taunts the ghost. The intention is to make it attack her. It does exactly that, but this triggers the shrine maidens to come and save her. Just like that, she frees Zen from his mother's ghost, but it also came at the cost of her 3rd chance. So, there's that. Zen begins his life anew. When he becomes aware of the existence of the cat spirits around him, he lets go of his guilt, which allows him to purify them as well. Miko then offers the kitten he rescued from the car to him. She had been taking care of her together with her family. Following this, the criminal is captured as well when Zen notices him attacking the cats. Later, Miko has a terrible dream, but fortunately, it was just a dream. As she is seen walking home from school with Hana and Yuria, we put a banter on the story of this anime, but just know the story continues on in the manga. Now, what are your thoughts on Miruko-chan? Go wild in the comment section and don't forget to like and subscribe for free cookies. Otherwise, an old ghost will call your mama. And with that said, I'll see you guys in my next video.